We've all watched our favorite LCS player stream at night and then say, sorry guys, I gotta go. I got LCS tomorrow and it's an early morning. Good night. And we can watch them the next day and try to figure out what that day is like, win or lose, but we don't really know what it's like for one of these LCS players to actually play on game day. What's their day like? How do they feel? What do they do? Well, as a former player myself, I think I can offer a pretty good insight as to what that is about. And the biggest thing about being a pro player on game day is maintaining your ritual or your routine at, to a certain degree, superstitions. Pretty much all players, I mean, I don't know personally, but the large majority from what I hear have their own personal routines or things that they got to do in the morning to make sure that their head's straight for that day. And it can vary from things like I only eat fruits on game day, or I only eat chocolate, or I only, I don't eat at all. I'm gotta have energy drinks nonstop. I gotta make sure that I sleep 7 hours exactly. It could be anything whatsoever. And I'm gonna just offer my own personal things that I used to do as a player to get myself into the right mindset. And those are, to me, were like a bit of a checklist. So I'd have a little bit of checklist of things that I wanted to get done in that morning and make sure that they're all done. And if the final thing before that checklist is do the LCS, win the LCS game, then I would have, I guess, a subliminal way of thinking, just another thing to check off the list. Unfortunately, that was not checked off too often, but I did gain some sort of self-discipline. Yeah, self-discipline is what I'm going to chalk it up to. Anyways, for me, a big thing was, all right, I got to get a good night's sleep. And how do I do that? Don't wake up with an alarm. I used to just wake up normally, just let my body decide when it's time to wake up, which always worked. I usually always wake up like that anyways. And the next one, obviously, you got to, you shower, make sure that you feel refreshed for your day, and have a good breakfast. So I wanted to have a breakfast that wasn't filled with sugar, filled with fat, like a bunch of bacon, or with pancakes, or waffles, or French toast, just none of that. Just making sure that I have a good, healthy breakfast. As well as, now this is the biggest one for me, or one of the biggest ones, make sure that my room is organized, because I'm not from here in California. I'm from Vancouver, Canada, so my home wasn't here. It was in the gaming house, and the only thing I had was just my room. So my room was a bit of a sanctuary, and if I had left that sanctuary and it was a complete mess, I'd feel as if I'm not being, I guess, responsible. I'm not sure what I was kind of feeling, but it just felt odd. So I had to have that my room was organized before I left, not left in a complete disaster. Now, this doesn't mean you got to clean everything of it. In fact, barely cleaned it. That's not true. There's maids that come in. Anyways, it was just organized. Just want to make sure that my room is in order, nice and tidy, bed's made, that kind of thing. And make sure that I'm in a good little, I'm leaving behind a space that I can be proud of. Then after your routine is done, now some players like to wake up early and maybe play a solo queue game, or wait till they get to the studio to play a solo queue game, whatever the case. And sometimes I do it, sometimes I didn't really matter too much. But once you get into that shuttle ride with your team, then that's where you take a bit of a different approach, where some players like to be really social and just mess around, talk with the team, talk with the coaches, whatever they want to do, just socialize. Other ones just want to lay in silence and meditate. Others, like myself, like to just listen to music. And for me, listening to music was a matter of finding that perfect song, the song for today, the song for this day and this moment in particular. How do I feel right now, and what do I want to be the soundtrack for this moment? And I'd spend a big portion of the car ride trying to find that song, and then once I did, I just listened to it over and over, and things like that would resemble that song or that kind of mood. And that would get me to the right headspace. And that would vary from things like incredible classical music, Ride of the Valkyries or 1812 Overture, to listening to with the cannons. You gotta have the cannons, or Rage Against the Machine, Metallica, to things like Florence and the Machine, which was surprisingly soothing. But anyways, the whole point of it is listening to things that made me focus on that moment and appreciate what I was doing and what I was about to do. And then of course you get to the LCS, and then there's more food if you want to eat, or drinks, coffee, Red Bull, energy drinks, whatever you want. And I mean, at some point in my career, I had, this was like season 2 or season 3, I had a goal of, hey, I got to drink an energy drink before every game, because that was like some sort of superstition that got started. I think at the qualifying packs for LCS in season 2 Worlds, where I drank, it was like 3 games and I drank 3 red. Dude, don't do that. That didn't work. But anyways, you get to the LCS, that you get to your room, and then that's where you can play more solo queue games, go into customs. And again, when I was playing a top laner, my warm up used to be, I just go into a custom game and last hit. And I got to make sure that I'm in the right side that I'm playing today, because it was best of 1 back then, so sides did matter. As well as maybe play ARAMs if the time's not there, play on the Smurf, so the games are shorter with shorter queues. And I mean, some tournaments even had things like you can only play Dominion, which I don't know why that happened. I hope you guys remember that. Some of you might remember that. Anyways, and then you go do your makeup, and then you're set. You set with your team. You go huddle up, and that's where you can have things like last minute preparation. So, for example, you might be looking at your opponent's accounts, and then you notice, oh shit, they don't have runes for this character. You'd be like, hey, they're not playing Evelyn. They don't have Evelyn runes. Maybe we don't need to ban it. Like, that changes everything. And then you kind of add a little bit more to the game plan before you go in, and you huddle up with the team, and then you go on stage and you play it. You play it out. And even then, you can have things like, I gotta have my little hand warmers. I gotta have my water, my coffee, my tea, whatever it is. Each player has their own little thing, and it always helps them. It's all about maintaining that routine, that kind of set habits that you have that make everything so easy, because you don't want to have to focus on the other aspects. You want all your focus to go onto the game. So I hope this shed some light onto what game day is like for a lot of players, and hope you guys enjoyed it.